All right. So, special session. I know some of you will be catching the replay of this one and not necessarily live. All right. But just checking the sound there real quick. Just because, again, we are doing it earlier tonight. You guys, again, I know some of you are working. Some of you will catch us in a bit later. Like I said, not a huge day today, but I'm going to try the 7 to 8 o'clock window here, and we will roll ahead forward. The guys that weren't here, you guys are going to be like, wait, I didn't get my pip chips tonight. So I already know what's going to happen. So you guys will be looking for pip chips. So just going to jump into it because I do have to get out of here at 8 today. I did message the team captain, and he's like, yeah, we definitely need bodies tonight. So I'm going to go and be a cheerleader and maybe do a couple plays, but just starting to feel better. So definitely not going to make it to the full game. I will be able to do some, but that's about it. So just going to day in review to start off. We had a bunch of different people speaking today. Didn't have really a whole lot of movement back and forth, so it doesn't look like anything was super surprising. Again, nothing like, obviously trend changing or on a major scale or anything. Final GDP came in exactly as planned. I mentioned that yesterday, that, again, we've had 2, 3, final, median, there's advanced. I mean, there's multiple different GDP readings that you get. Final is pretty much, yep, just confirming that that's, what it is. And again, even sometimes they do miss, with revisions and everything, but didn't expect it to be a big move on this one. So you can see that not a lot happened today. You had minus 30 on euro, pound dollar, minus 30. Again, dollar again was only up 10, 22, 8, minus 3, 3, and 22. So without a day full of, again, like I said, final GDP was the only big thing we had sitting there, so not really too much in there. Going into tomorrow, I think tomorrow morning will give us some opportunity, though, having core durable goods in there. Again, the previous and the forecasts are very much different, so that could definitely be something to look for. And again, core durable goods is one of those news releases, again, one, being high impact, but two, it is definitely one that can offer quite a surprise and quite a run. And also, it's, again, it's matched up with personal spending month over month in this one. So I think personal spending should be interesting this week. We saw the consumer confidence number come in way lower. Personal spending, again, it's what are people spending? It's, their confidence in the economy, but then what are they actually spending? So should be a good reading. A good is in, not as in like a good number, but good is in having the potential to potentially move the markets around a little bit tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of lays out. Now, the rest of that, the price index, the durable good orders, again, obviously the core is the most important, and then the FOMC member, those are the ones that really matter the most. Will's in there. Will's like, I'm grabbing my ticket. Will, right now, you have 100% rate. You're the only one in so far. Like I said, I think the off time, I said it last night, but I should have made a post earlier today about it. Unfortunately, the baby was not cooperating as well as I had hoped. She's still a bit sick. So, yeah. So, right now, man, you're getting some pip chips out of this thing tonight. All right. So, with that being said, let's jump across to the scanner. The scanner, I think, is right. Bam, there. Okay. And I saw some of you guys get it. Make sure you do hit the scan button. I wanted to make sure that I got the most recent. Again, it does do automatic refreshes for you, but it's always nice to have it. So you guys can see, starting right off here, looking at the European basket. Euro New Zealand downtrend setup as well as EuroCAD. EuroCAD is not something that we typically go over. Ooh, look at that. Josh snuck in there and was like, yep, I'm going to make it 50% chance to take those pip chips tonight. Looking over across at the kind of the majors pair, you guys can see that the Aussie dollar, again, I have icons on some, and then I leave this up there to show you guys. You can see that we have a downtrend set up in the Aussie dollar as well as the pound dollar, okay? Which means, again, it is pulling back a little bit. Looking at most of the pound pairs, they're all basically in a downtrend setup situation. So it looks like, obviously, big push down, bit of a retrace. You guys can see pound dollar is actually on the daily and the 4-hour. It's showing the setup. And then pound Swiss, which we don't typically look at, it's just too small for me. So, somebody cue the Darth Vader music. Ernest is here. The guy that wins all the time. Is there an emoji for that? Hold on, let me see here. Oh, I don't think there is. Disney's got it. No. No, there's none. Man, I tried everything. Jedi, Sith, Darth Vader, Yoda, lightsaber, nothing. All right, guys, Ernest is here, so you know who's taking the pip chips tonight in the contest. So, Aussie is kind of the same situation. You guys will see Aussie is pretty much in downtrend setup situation as well, which obviously means that we are getting a bit of a pullback. And if you'll notice on that, when we have downtrend setup on the daily, the 4-hour and the 1-hour on both the Aussie CAD as well as the Aussie dollar. So obviously a bit of a retracement. You can see Aussie New Zealand is actually giving us an uptrend setup on the lower time frame, meaning that it looks like it's starting to get into retracement territory that is again could be potentially a trend reversal. So we'll see. Oh, you thought I missed class? No, actually, Ernest, I didn't know. I was kind of surprised that you weren't one of the guys here because you're really good about making it. And like I said, I know I threw the off time in here because again, I got a bolt at 8 o'clock tonight, and I was supposed to get changed beforehand, but I didn't get changed yet. So I literally got to throw uniform on, grab my bag, go to the car, and get out of here. So yeah, I'll put I don't even know what that is. I hit the emoji button, and now I have all these things popping up. The other thing is, did anybody else's Twitch turn different colors? It used to be dark, and now it is basically just all white for me with gray, and it looks different. I'm trying to figure out if something in the browser broke or if Twitch is just mixing up the whatever here. But the text is different, everything is different. I'm kind of trying to figure out what happened to Twitch. I'm so used to seeing it on the one side of the screen, and I'm like, what do I got running? But as far as the scanner goes, that's what we got. Also, pound CAD, which again I said we don't look at. It's also looking like it has on the 1 hour. All right. All right, that's all the scanners. So I got the list. I'll be able to kind of keep that up there, and we'll look at it from there. All right, let's dive into some charts. Mine changed as well. Okay, so it wasn't just me. I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, what did I break? Today has been the day of finding things and then figuring out how I broke them. So I have this habit of going in and wanting to change one thing, and then I hit save, and then I kind of mess it up, and then the links don't work, and then I spend half the afternoon fixing links, which was kind of what I did today. All right, so you guys can see the Aussie yen did not really move a whole lot. If you look at the body again, yeah, you guys can see this is this is the Thursday candle right here. Wednesday's candle, obviously it went down and it retraced back up again. So it drove pretty deep into the zone, but really hasn't moved since that time. Again, you guys can see, as we discussed last night, here's the 19 candle, and when we go backwards, the next 19 candle is right here. So we're basically at the same exact spot. We had a little bit of a pull down, a little bit of a pop up, and that's about it. I mean, dropping down, let me bring it to a 30-minute, not a 5-minute, because that would make a little bit more sense. Okay, you guys can see we did have this pop up, and it did go right back to the same kind of area, and I think I mentioned this last night, if we kind of brought that across, right there. Okay, we ended up hitting it, and it kind of pushed back down again. So it's kind of playing ping pong between the two areas. And I said that was really, even though this is pushed through, that was about the only clean area that I saw, minus what we had up top. So obviously a little bit of an area, nothing earth-shattering with this pair, just a small intraday play, which triggered about 8 o'clock this morning, 8 a.m. this morning, and was good for a total of, 23 pips? So, I mean, you really weren't pulling a lot. It was a 2-hour binary option on that one, if anything, just because of the pop-up. But besides that, obviously, it's flat, waiting for till tomorrow. Now, Aussie New Zealand. Okay, now in this one, we do have a downtrend setup. And the reason why is because, again, we had these large red candles, and now it is green pulling back, and it's looking for more orders. So, problem with this one is you guys can see there's a little bit of an area of basing that it ran into. Okay, it's very obvious to see here. We talked about the purple zone that I mentioned earlier in the week that I wanted to kind of retrace into, and we got about 75-80% of the way through, and then you really had to start focusing on the bottom here, right? And that's what it ran into. So, although we're in a downtrend setup situation, the green is it's coming from a 4-hour demand zone. Okay, it's starting to push up a little bit from there. Now, the good thing about this one is there is a little bit of supply right above where we are. So it will be interesting to see if we can get a break of this zone. The way that it's established with this green candle sitting right here, that's a pretty good spot to have sellers right above the zone where you're at. So anytime it pushes a little bit further, it pulls up. Can't see the chart. Oops, I didn't do it. Is this one. Sorry about that. Here's the Aussie yen real quick. And again, I talked about what it did as it hit the 8 a.m. candle, right? That's the one we had marked off from here. And then drop. So again, very, very small, 2-hour binary at best. Aussie New Zealand. Okay, here's your downtrend setup on the daily. And again, what you're looking at is the kind of spike down here, hitting into a zone. But again, this little piece right here is right there. That area of supply is nice having that above the zone. Now, is it great? Looking at the 30-minute, you guys can see. Not really. I mean, you can see a small area. Again, you guys can see kind of that area that we saw last night that pushed back down again, and it's it kind of hit it here and kind of hit it here. It's kind of the same situation with the base, so it's not the best one, but it is nice to have some type of supply above to see if we can really kind of break through the zone, continue and push back down again. And again, I think we could have an eventual profit target of 106.64 in this one. So yeah, I have so many different. See, I made it more complicated, and then it got crazy, and now I'm just totally thrown off that Twitch is completely white right now. Like I said, with different fonts and everything, I'm like, oh god, what did I do? So again, you guys can see nothing super crazy there with this one either. Again, this is not one of those standard pairs we play. Looking at Aussie dollar now, Aussie dollar is downtrend set up on the daily as well as the 4-hour. Okay, and again, it doesn't look like it here because it's continuing to push through. Again, remember that is being pulled from Oanda. Okay, so Oanda's is probably showing a bit green in there. But same thing, again, it's pulling back up. Now, we talked about this last night. We were stuck in this basing area, and we said we'd really like to get a push through, but grabbing orders would be difficult. Now, it did spike, and it did grab right from that wick over wick. Okay, so you guys remember I drew this line here saying any type of retracement to the top side, and that's what it grabbed. It literally grabbed the basing right here that we drew last night, right? That's the basing that we grew, and then it pulled right back down again. So, in essence, in the last, take 6 candles back, you can say 19 is here. Okay, bring it back to 19 here. We're at exactly the same spot. So it really, all it did was jump up, grab that basing zone again. It's a very, and I'll make it bigger for you guys. Look at this. It's a little tiny wick over wick, right? Here, I'll delete this one here. Put it here. You guys can see that wick over wick right there. You guys see where it hit? That basing level. I drew it here. It populated here. So right in the zone. Okay. The retracement back down again. Again, not a bad. Again, it's about. You end up moving about 31 off that area. Okay. But again, large spike up here at 8 a.m. this morning. Okay. Now 8 a.m. coincides with. This area here, right? This was the move right before the final GDP number. Okay, spiked up, and then what happened? Nothing really changed, right? And went right back down again. So, looks like there was going to be a pre-market kind of fake out. But again, spike, hit, retrace all the way back down, and we're in the exact same spot. So again, another parabolic retracement that hit completion. Now, I want to see this grind a little bit further. We have this blue line we have marked off, kind of a trigger to kind of, again, it's a profit target, but it's based off of a daily demand zone. So make sure you guys have that marked off at 67.27 as a kind of not only a downside target from this zone, but again, an area where if you are in, make sure that you get out. And again, think about potentially, reversing your positions on that one. Okay, I don't want you guys to get caught if that one all of a sudden turns and retraces and kind of shoots back up on you. Hello, Vic. Welcome, buddy. Glad you made it. Getting some of those pip chips at a different time. All right, so looking at the pound Aussie. Okay, pound Aussie. This one is, again, it had a kind of a downward movement based day. You guys can see here, right? This is the Thursday. Here's the Wednesday candle. It did come back up. Okay, it did give us a space, right? I will draw the triangle in here. You guys can see this is definite white space, right? In that area. My triangles are getting worse. Okay, here it's going to drive me nuts if I don't fix that. Right there. Okay, so there's your triangle in that area. Parabolic retracement to the downside, and this one was worth about 121. Right? Very little risk taken in this trade whatsoever. Okay, you guys can see here. Look at it coming, and again, on the 30 minutes, the best, right? Did we get the white space? Did it clear the area? Yes. Again, we did it here, but this is the 4-hour span, right? The triangle would come over here. Okay, there's your white space, right? And how much heat did you take in this one total? Let's make this, when it came back up and touched, let's see here. Your heat in this trade was 3 pips, 3.7. Okay, so again, parabolic retracements don't take very long to go. Again, when you're looking at it down here too, you can see that we had a single wick as well as kind of a descending wick. So again, that's not a bad little kind of risk area to take, right? If you would take in that as your kind of risk, right? There you go. Again, nice little spike away, and that also occurred. This was actually last night. You guys could have grabbed this one. Okay, so again. Break, white space, retest, look for a level in there that it was kind of bouncing off of, and then again, take it short. Okay, that's your parabolic retracement. where we are now, it's really flatlined for the last kind of 12, 16 hours. So it is running into a wick over wick, though. If you're looking on the daily, you guys see it right here from 182.49 to 181.97. So just be a bit cautious, okay? I'm not saying that we're in full reversal mode, but your target on this one would have been, I'll just take this one and drag this one all the way up, right? You would have been looking at somewhere in this range for a target, okay? Most likely there, okay? Again, that's where the break is, and that's where the single wick against the wall is. So you guys can see where the eventual target would have been based off of it. We used it on the daily. We broke a zone on the 4-hour. We retested again. You can see it on both of these two candles, and went back down to the target that was drawn at the start of the move. Okay, and it's kind of right in that little drama area. All right, so let's go across the euro pound. All right, so euro pound had a bit of a retracement, kind of a push back up, a bit of a rally, but it kind of failed. It just failed, right? We talked about this last night. Now, you guys will see that it did actually touch the two. Again, we've had this drawn for a while. These two kind of dotted lines as far as where our entry would be. Now, would you have taken it off of that? Potentially, maybe. I mean, again, it didn't really spend a whole lot of time there. It kind of went up and dropped very, very fast. I think that the best thing that you could have done in this one, I didn't take this one, but I think this is what you would have been the best thing to take. Take that failure to go higher and touch that zone. I mean, obviously it got driven away fast. It tried to rally back up again and was unsuccessful. And again, you're using that kind of first touch as the as kind of your entry on this one to go short. Now, was there a lot to be made in this one? No, not really. It started to move sideways on us very, very fast. Again, what was it doing? It was rallying. I mean, it was going up, but it ran into an area of sellers, and again, that will happen. You guys can see on this 30-minute. I mean, it's really just hasn't really left the area. I mean, this area where it's at now has been a kind of a mainstay, right? Kind of a baseline. And again, looking over here, this is that pattern that we had on the euro dollar for so long. That kind of just steady, kind of what I would call like an umbrella formation, right? It's kind of like a half circle or a half moon. That's kind of what we're seeing in this one, right? It's getting pretty ugly. It's touched that area a few different times now, though. So, potentially, there could be, something here that we can get some good news. Like if we can get a Brexit, we can finally blow through the top and be clear with that. You may be looking at this one too and say, hey, listen, I got to get into this one. I got to get the entry into that one. But if you actually look across, there was not actually a red, green, red confirmation to get into this one. This one, all in here, it didn't actually trigger whatsoever. Even with as flat as it was, this is about the only one here that you could have got a retracement into. But again, you're what? It dropped, it stopped right in the middle of a demand zone. So you're not taking a retracement there, especially this far after the fact, right? So again, it more or less became invalid because it just took too long. But again, went higher, and right now it's like, whoa, this is just junk, right? This big kind of like, I don't even know what you want to call it, just this clump right here, right? It's like a cloud sitting on top. And again, you guys can see it's flirting with the sell zones that we had up top. Okay, so for me, really, unless anybody's talking, which there's not tomorrow, I'd be a bit cautious with this one. I may wait until the weekend to see if we can get a little bit of clearance from this zone. Okay. Now remember, that pair will start running out of steam very, very quick tomorrow, because once European traders are out, that pair pretty much dries up. So, when you're looking, going into Friday, you're looking at pretty much at running out of steam. Probably by like 10:30, 11 o'clock, it's done. You're not going to see really a lot of movement. There's just nothing. I mean, unless like somebody gets invaded, like unless the UK is getting invaded, it's just not going to move. It's not designed that way. I mean, when the market's done, going into the weekend, that's where it just it will run completely out of steam, and then it's kind of just the United States, and the United States is just kind of I mean, there's just. I mean, who's moving money? Nobody, right? Nobody's moving money, okay? And that's just, be prepared for that, all right? Going into euro dollar. Now, again, euro dollar was down 31 today. The screener is going to give you guys where are we at? Sideways downward bias confirmed, meaning it's still continuing to move in that direction. And it is, right? The gray is engulfed. It's down. It's confirmed. Now, the nice thing about this one is we did finally break below. So, that's a great thing, okay? Very, very good thing, because we did finally break, below the lowest. We were at 109.18, right above 109. So now is when the bears are really starting to set in, because it tried to push up. You guys can see that it didn't even make it back up. Again, we had a little bit of a zone here. We had a little bit of kind of a rally up and then kind of pushed back down again and went slightly higher. Okay, this was at about 10 o'clock this morning. Pushed down, and then we've kind of flatlined. So everything you're seeing in this one is really saying that, this is euro weakness and dollar strength. Now, tomorrow, let me get some tea. Tomorrow will be interesting just because with these two, okay, obviously there's no European news, right? Saunders is not really going to be able to move that market. These two, durable goods and personal spending, they have the power to really move this a lot, okay? If these two are good numbers for the dollar, man, this thing can go down. Okay, this can get potentially down to the 108 range. So, unfortunately, because we had this kind of green spike up, we really don't have a great little kind of pop. Where we are right now, down at 109.20-ish area, we could do a 40 pip spike up into this zone, but unfortunately, it's already been triggered here, the 7 o'clock spike up. Would have been great if this is all we had, 60 pips away from that, I would have loved to spike up and then kind of a retracement back down again, but it looks like we're a bit too far. So, even looking down here, this is technically a retracement of, or a retest of this area, kind of getting short from there. This is something you guys can mark off to see if we can get some type of a spike. Problem is, the problem with that area right there is we're only about 40 pips away. Okay, this one, between these two, core durable goods is one of the bigger ones. It has the power to move it at least 50. Again, the average is going to be probably, the average of all of them, that you guys can see, right? You can see it misses a fair amount. Or, see we hit one here, hit one down here. So, it's not flawless, but we need a big one. We need like something like this, where we miss it by like a 1 percentage point. If we only have something like this, where it's a 0.1 or a 0.2, I don't know that it's going to be enough to really kind of jack us on that one tomorrow. But would be nice. Again, I'll be looking for this zone. I'd be taking this one if you guys were looking at it. I'd be looking at this one inside of a 2-hour binary. Look for a spike up. Again, news is at 8:30, so you could be looking at the 8 or the 9. Okay, depending on how long it takes for it to retrace and kind of again. The spreads will be a little bit better on the 9, but most times you're going to have to take the 8 on this one if it spikes up. Okay, just be cautious of that because it's not right at the hour. Going to your Aussie, that's about the only thing. To the downside, I wouldn't really be looking for much. There's not any easy zones that have been here for a long time, so not that those aren't valid, but on the lower time frames, I wouldn't be messing with them. So we had a nice little drop down to this one, and again, this one had a bit of a retest of this basing level, right? Okay, you guys can see it. It came up and it touched it again. Again, very clean zone. Now, again, not a huge profit target of where price could move. We had this profit target drawn, and you guys can see. It pushed down, it came back up, and then it just halted, right? Fortunately, let's see. What do we got here? Only talking about 25 pips, so probably not worth the risk. But as far as a learning principle goes, again, nice red, 4 red candles, nice little easy base, and then an explosive move from that area shows us that our seller's there. So you definitely had the potential to take this short. You could still potentially be shorted, but again, I wouldn't be planning 60, 80, 100 pips out of this one. This is definitely something on the kind of a smaller time frame. That zone is not very large at all, and again, not a large zone. Don't expect huge pushment off of it, particularly in a pair that is kind of faltering like this one is kind of doing right now. All right. Going into tomorrow, so we picked this target here as well. This dotted line came from this kind of area here where price really exploded off of it, right? Now, there is descending wicks here too, so I'm kind of leery about taking anything short in this position because we've seen previously that we have buyers right below where we are. So, pushing it and kind of flirting with the buyers here, that's like an easy way to get burned. So, just be cautious because, again, we're in the Asian session now. European session will open up, but by the time that morning time and the U.S. session comes around, both these pairs are done. Okay? It's kind of one of those things. It's going to run out of steam real quick again going into Friday. It's just kind of the word of the night is that precautionary tale. So just be, like I said, this area here, the ascending candles with the wicks and then a large explosion off of it, everything screams that there are buyers right below where price is. So don't get greedy on this one trying to take shorts. Wait for us to be able to break this area at least down to 160, 130 before you start taking anything short in this one at this point. Okay, going into pound in. Oh, my nose is so stuffed up. I'm gonna be able to I'll be able to take like one face off today and maybe run down the field once. I'm gonna be like, Be like, somebody sub, I'm gonna die. All right, so you guys can see this one. Okay, today it's down 22 pips, and you can see it is actually down much farther, but it did retrace back up again, right? It was actually down here at 132.37, and we are about 80 pips or about 50 pips higher than we were. So at one point we were down about 70. There was definitely something, you could have grabbed some today. But was there a really clean entry? And that's kind of the big question, right? You can see, at no point today it opened at the high, basically, right? So there was really not much pullback to grab. About the only thing, and I mean, you're talking, here's where we are right now, right? 19, and go back to 19 right here. We were in a bit of a zone, but it's a very low quality zone. Okay, so as much as I would have loved to say, hey, listen, you should have grabbed this one, it's a pretty poor zone. Okay, at least on the 4 hour when you're dealing with this. Okay, the two wicks on the top are exactly at the same spot, meaning they were established here and cleared here. It kind of went sideways and it kind of went up, right? And then finally kind of pulled. And, this kind of drop right here, you guys can see. That's where it went to. So, I mean, is it a great area? Would you have saw this and said, yes, that's awesome. That's what I've been waiting my entire trading career for, that pullback right there to go into this zone. No, you would have not said that in a million years. Okay, so while it did move, and I'd like to say, hey, you should have grabbed all 70. This would have been a very hard one to grab, particularly because we've been flirting with, again, that we're sitting right on a profit target. What did it do? It went below and then came right back up and sucked right back into that same zone. And again, that's those buyers that we see over here on the daily. So where we are right now, again, like I said, there's really not a whole lot of clean stuff on this one. The one good thing about this pair is the fact that we are obviously in a downtrend. Okay, on the daily as well as the 4 hour, which does open us up to potential gap trades on Sunday. That's about the only positive thing I see in this one right now, because these are just not great kind of sideways zones right now. I'm just not loving them at all. All right, but again, I do like the daily. I do like the 4 hour. The fact that we are downtrend, that's screaming Sunday gap. Okay, looking at pound dollar. Let's see what we got over here. Now, pound dollar is down, 35. Okay, it's down more than what the pound yen was for the day. And you can see what it did, right? Now, we did have, here's 19. Okay, and there's the 19 candle, right? We talked about a little bit of a retracement. Now, I think I mentioned this last night. If we got back up to this zone, we'd be willing to take something. We didn't. Okay, it went up, and you guys can see it did run into a level on the 30-minute level of basing. But again, it did kind of the same thing, right? I urged caution last night because we were actually sitting on a zone, and what did it do? It kind of came up, it popped away, went right below, went just as far to the top side, and is now just it's kind of acting as a magnet, right? It's getting stuck inside of this zone. So, although it looks great on the daily, in essence, it's not really as great because it rallied up and kind of rallied back down again. So yes, it moved 35 pips to the downside, but if you look at how it was really formed with the wicks, again, this one here, this long wick down and push back up again is kind of in this area. So fast decline, fast rally, and then it just went dry on us. Now this pair will be a mover tomorrow, like I said. If we get strong dollar news, this would be the pair to probably play it against. Obviously, I mean, not that the euro or the pound is very weak it's very strong right now, but this one has obviously been in a downtrend, so I think it'll be a little bit more synergistic to kind of matching it up and taking this to the short side. But like I said, similar to the yen pair, again, we are in a downtrend. Any type of gap in this one would also set us up for some type of a Sunday play. Okay. Now looking at pound New Zealand. Baby must be happy. She's running through the hallway going, bing, bing. All right. Obviously downtrend, right? Now, have we really gotten much of a pullback in this one? Not really, right? Again, a pair like this, you typically want to make sure we're pulling back. One thing I do like about this, though, is you guys do see that we kind of had this kind of drama here where it was like, again, a big cloud. Then it got small, consolidated it, and then exploded out. So, you could be looking at this and saying, hey, listen, that was an area where last time price was there. Again, gave us a red, gave us a green, gave us a red, and exploded. That could be an area of sellers. Okay, so that area, if you want to mark it off on your charts, again, it's 190. What are we looking at here? 196.84 to 197.25. okay, as far as an area that we'd be looking for. And again, you can see the basing on the 30-minute, right? It came all the way across, and then that's where it really started to move again. So not a horrible area. Could be worse, definitely taking a short, especially if we get some type of a pop-up to that zone. But just be a bit cautious with it, all right? Again, this pair has the ability to kind of, this was 205 pips in, less than a day. So it can be a runner when it needs to be. But going into a Friday, I don't think it'll be as big. But again, same as the last two pairs. Let's look for some type of a gap and take an entry on this one, potentially on Sunday night going into it, right? Looking at New Zealand dollar. Ernest, if you figure out how to turn this thing back to the old colors, I would be all over that. I'm looking at every time I look over at it, it's completely throwing me off. Yeah, totally throwing me off. All right, New Zealand dollar. Okay, obviously this one we had a downtrend setup situation, right? We just missed it, came all the way back down, hit the profit target literally to the T, and then kind of retraced off of it. Now, it did go back up, and interestingly enough, okay, what did it grab? You guys can see, what's this pattern called? We see it all the time. Bam, right there. Okay, so it came back up, grabbed the wick over wick. Okay, and again, I mean, this thing hit literally to the T, based off of this. You haven't figured out either. I'm telling you, what throws me off the most is that the fonts are different. I'm like, I'm like, I feel like it's broken because there's like no backgrounds. Like, I don't know, maybe there's settings that I need to change. I don't know. It just looks very bland now compared to what it used to look like. Okay, it did push back, and what did it run into? Well, you had this little basing level right here. Okay, this is exactly what it ran into. So right now we are kind of stuck between there and there. Okay. Now, I don't think this will be that big of a deal to kind of break, but it will push back down and hit the 62.77 area. Or, I'm sorry, 62.72 area. Unfortunately, it's just not that much. Yeah, it's only about 15, 16 pips to the downside. I think we're running into the typical New Zealand play here. That although it's pretty, although you can see stuff on the charts, there's just not enough room for it to really run to be able to put the capital up. And I think that's what we're going to run into on this one. So, I'm not willing to take a long off of this position, but we're like right in the middle. It's like, I do want it to go lower. I would like it to have a really crappy day, and I want it to close over here somewhere and have it be a red candle, because then we are definitely in a near-term downtrend. And this thing has been all about retesting up the wick over wicks. Yeah, I mean, we are sitting in an area of buyers, but it's such a small area. I don't know that I would say going short on this one. Obviously, there's only 17 pips down to the kind of the target, and again, this is a pretty nice target right here. So I'm afraid we're gonna have to just not take this one. There's just not enough meat on that one. Go across dollar Swiss. We had 26 pips on this guy. All right, so didn't quite get up to where we were looking for. Okay, we were looking for it to get back up to 99.56. It got close, kind of turned down again, kind of came back up again to the same exact spot, and then kind of just it has stopped now. So really, there's not much into this one. Like I said, you had the piece at the bottom here, this failure to go lower, and again, it bounced right off the bottom, retraced back up into the level of basing, right? Kind of pulled back, got some more orders, wanted to get some more stuff on sale, and then punched through, and then came back down again, grabbed those again, and then made another attempt higher. So, I mean, it's had a continuing trend in this one, but we're so far up on the curve, and when I say curve, I mean the upper end of this channel here. I mean, I'd be looking more for shorts up top. And again, we are so close to we are closer than what the actual risk level is on this one. So, this could be one you set an alert, set some type of an alert sitting right, I don't know, what's that, 99.52? Maybe you can set it at 99.50 if you want. Right there. Set yourself an alert at 99.50. We'll turn that gold. We'll turn that solid. And right there, it basically send yourself an email if we get up in there. I think this one will probably run out of steam unless the news is really crazy tomorrow. But if we do get a bit of a, a little bit of a spike or get ourselves up into the zone for news, then that could be absolutely a time that we want to be shorting. Okay. The reason why is, again, I don't think either of the news. I mean, neither of these two pairs. Excuse me. Core drill is actually supposed to be better. Personal spending's lower. Okay. I mean, technically, neither of them are good. Okay. Well, I guess more orders is good, but the personal spending, I think, is going to be the one that people are more focused on. So, yeah, we'll see how that one comes out. But yeah, if we do get a pop into here, could definitely be looking for some type of a retrace early, right? I'm not holding anything daily on that one. I don't even know if I'd set up butterfly on the bottom side. I have to look at it tomorrow morning, see if it's worth taking a butterfly on the bottom. 99.16. I think it's just a bit too wide. I don't know that we'll get the price on it. We'll have to check that one in the morning. Look at dollar CAD. Oh man, my nose is so stuffed up. This is where it's gonna get funny, or not funny, but it's going to be absolutely hysterical for me because, typically when you have a mouthpiece in, you're not breathing through your mouth, you're breathing through your nose. Well, I cannot breathe through my nose, but I will have a mouthpiece in. So I'm either going with no mouthpiece tonight, or I'm just gonna be like, it's gonna be fun. All right, so we marked this off before, the channel that it was kind of stuck within, right? This box right now is the top of the gap and the start of this week, and we've literally it's an inside week all week. I mean, what have we done today? Really, not even that much, right? Here's 19. There we are, right there. So we've gone up what? 8 pips. 8 pips. Again, we had a bit of a burst down. Again, the burst did go slightly lower. So if you had been trying to grab the bottom, actually, it looks like it's exactly the same. Hold on, it's right here. We'll look at it on the lower time frame. But it looks like both of them are sitting right there. Yeah, they're super close. Yeah, see, here and here. This one is probably a pip lower to the bottom side of that channel. But again, this is basically the definition of sideways. So I'd be very hesitant to make any trades on this one. Now, we do have no Canadian data tomorrow. So if there is kind of a missed forecast, you will see a bit of a spike on this one, and the Canadian dollar will not be able to kind of turn it around. So you won't have a double kind of. I mean, I guess you could because there's two U.S. Reds, but you're not going to have a great CAD and a great dollar where they kind of phase each other out in that one. Okay, which is not bad, but like I said, I really hope that whatever we do, I really hope that this thing just spikes up in this area. So at least a lot of this is cleaned out. This is just it's kind of junk. Waiting for it to kind of, again, this is that same pattern with the euro dollar. It's like an umbrella, right? It's forming an umbrella, and literally inside week from last week to this week, it's all been stuck in here. So look at dollar yen. Oh, now I'm trying to figure out. It's game starts at 8:30. If I take a decongestant, will it kick in time? All right, so this is a little bit interesting here. So we did just run into this 4-hour zone. Okay, can we refine that zone much? Yeah, well, actually we could have. We can take that as far as your zone. Okay, so in this one, let's see, what do we got here? This looks like something interesting. Not bad. That's a 10 pip risk. If we take it back down, I don't know that we'll make it that far, but even over to here would be 30 or 40. That'd be about a 50 pip runner right there to the downside. So that's a potential little setup right there. It's not too bad. But again, we just kind of went off of it. So a couple different options. We're only talking 55. So you're talking about 3 strike prices to the downside or 2 strike prices to the downside. Would have been nice if we caught this here. Okay, a little bit earlier. This one may have moved a bit. We're about 10 pips into this one already, is what the problem is. Let me see something real quick. Let me check. I just saw you type something to that. What's the scanner saying on this one? This one is downtrend, no setup. Because the gap over here is kind of screwing up a little. But I mean, technically, this one hit across, and it's hitting the green is what it is. That's why this one's a little bit off. I mean, basically, on the daily, it's telling you downtrend, no setup. On the 4 hour, it's giving you an uptrend setup, which makes sense, right? It's red with the green before. It is outside. I mean, I guess it's engulfed, but it looks like it is just slightly higher. On the 1 hour, it's also giving you an uptrend setup. And I don't look at the 1 hour for the most part. And then sideways, down confirmed is on the 15. So, it's giving you the setup. And again, it is. It's green with the red. Makes sense. If you erase this, it's again makes sense, right? But we're getting close to an anchor break situation, but we're also running into supply. So it's kind of one of those things. It's trying on the lower time frames. It is trying to push up into the zone. On the larger time frame, it is telling you like, hey, listen, there's a level here. But this is a 4 hour level, and last time price was there, it did push away pretty convincingly. So you just need to be cautious about that. And the fact that it's already moved about 10, 11 pips in the direction into the short already, I feel like you need to be a little bit cautious on this one because again, if you take this trade now, you got about 20 pips risk, so it's a little bit much. I was logging in to see what the strikes were on this one and see how much. Trying to see how much volume or volatility is kind of jacked into them for tomorrow. Let's see here. Let me see here. What do we got? The indicative is 107.80 right now. All right, that's interesting. So they don't have a lot jacked in here. You got something like this. Okay, it's only 40 pips below, only risking 17.25. So I mean, 40 pips with a high news release, bad U.S. data. This could definitely, definitely tank it. So that's not a bad one. Again, that's at 11 a.m. and the news is at 8:30. Okay, so this would be you want to get a spike out of this one. If we did the 3. Yeah, you're kind of in that same wheelhouse, 1775. And the next one they're saying that it's too much, but I mean that's 11. So I mean I'd probably go for this one. Okay, you're talking about a 40 pip drop on this one with bad news. Without bad news, obviously you're going to take a loss on it. The ATR on this pair on the daily is not huge, but again, the news release is really what we would kind of deal with it. I mean, the ATR on this one is 60 pips. So you took it long in the 4 hour. Be cautious, Vic. If you're taking it long in the 4 hour, what are you running into? Okay, you're running into a zone here, and then you're running into this kind of, there's a kind of one level here, but then there's other, places where we've seen buyers above. Okay, now it doesn't mean that it can't go higher, right? I mean, it could definitely go higher looking for some orders. I don't want to tell you that, oh, that's horrible, don't do that, because again, I can always be wrong as well. But I'm just looking at, what do I see here? Is I see a 4 hour zone above where we currently are. So that's what I would be careful with. If anything, I would definitely be more short biased because we just did bounce off a 4 hour. So if no news is in there, it's coming down and it's coming in. You'll see this target right here. This target is sitting at 107.36. That strike is sitting right here. I'll move it to the strike. Is right there, right? So that's where we need to go to tomorrow with a news spike, and that would be the at the money. Okay, and you go, pay 17 in, get 50 out of it on the other side, coming off of a 4 hour. And that would be the 3 p.m. Vic's like he likes running in front of trains. Yeah. So again, that this could be definitely a potential setup. And again, if it's if you don't like that much risk on it, again for something that's kind of going into a Friday, you could do something like this where it's $11.75. I mean, if this thing moves down 1 or 2 strike prices, I mean, if you move down just even, 1 strike price, you guys can see down here, this is, you're getting it for 65, right? So it's at 35. So there's even if you take it off 20 pips down, what just happened in those two, again, it's not going to be exact because this is, you're talking about 3 versus just, 2 down or 1 down. But if this thing moves 20 pips to the downside and we start eating up some strike prices, there you're risking 11 to make 35. Okay? If you get bad news, and if you don't get bad news, then whatever, you lose $11 a contract. Okay, but it is it does match up technically with what we're trying to do, right? Again, it would have been nicer if we grabbed it here, right? Obviously, but we didn't. And again, it's moved a little bit, but counting on the news with what we have, that doesn't look like a bad thing, especially this personal spending. If people are spending less money, that's going to be bad, and that could definitely send this thing down, right? So. All right, so that's the only. I'm not going to go into CAD yen because CAD yen and CAD Swiss will just be absolutely just nothing tomorrow. There's really no driving factor in this one. I mean, CAD yen. CAD yen kind of had the same situation. Again, we're bouncing around the same thing, but it's just stuck, right? It's wedged in there. Where we are now is here. 19 candle was here. Okay, we're in literally the exact same place where we were last night. Okay, with a little bit of up, a little bit of down, a little bit of up, just nothing you guys are going to be able to profit off of. So, yep, nothing crazy. All right, guys. So with that being said, let's jump across. So only 6 people were in the drawing tonight. Like I said, off time, I knew we were going to have issues with it. James is not here, so he can't gank it from you. Missing a couple people, but that's okay. People better see the replay. So again, quick chart school tonight. It is Thursday. Like I said, I like that Nadex one. That's probably the nicest one in there. Hopefully they get that in the replay. All right, let me get my chips. All right, closing the giveaway right now. Drawing the winner, FX Jones. Look at that. Where did he come in? Literally, he came in like what? 5 minutes ago? Look at that, man. Look at that. He's only been in here like 10 minutes. He snuck in, threw the ticket in there, 16% chance won, and handed it to you, Ernest. Don't take that from him. Man, can't believe that. Stomped in there and just stole it. He's driving it like he stole it. Think over. Didn't you win last night too? I feel like he won last night too. Who won last night? Was it you? I'm telling you, I think it was you. I keep seeing this red and I keep wanting to hit this. I really feel like it was you. Jones, sneaky, that's my strategy. Yeah, he literally snuck in at the end and ganked it from you. Yeah. Last second, yeah, he went in there and was like, damn, I'm taking it. Supposed to give everyone 2 in a row. They should hit a stop loss with those chips. Yeah. It's so funny. Ernest is going to pull out his chip and get him right away. Yeah, Ernest is going to do it. Eventually I find it. Yeah, see, look, it's still going away. All right, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude tonight. I will catch you guys later. If I'm around, like I said, I have my kids this weekend. I'm going to take them to Six Flags Great Adventure on Saturday. And then I'm going to try to be doing a bunch of work on Sunday because the baby just wouldn't let me do much work today. So I should be around on the computer. If there's any gaps that kind of set up, or if I'm actually at the computer when the markets reopen, I will jump into Discord and see if anything sets up or anything like that. All right. It's been a few days since I got one. Yeah, I know you guys are just collecting. All right. So you guys take care. Hopefully I don't die tonight. Wish me luck. And I will see you guys potentially Sunday, but if not, Monday morning first thing. All right. Take care, guys, and thanks again for coming tonight. I really appreciate it.